Coming up on State of Events, Congress has started to inquire about impeachment for President Donald Trump. David Fuentes has the latest on what's been going on with inquiries to impeachment.
General Motors sports workers still remain on strike, entering its third week of striking.
And State of Events starts now. Welcome to State of Events. I'm Graham Muckenfoos.
And I'm Jennifer Rios. Let's get down to our top stories for this week.
We begin with national news. President Trump and his administration have once again found themselves in the midst of controversy. Last week, the United States House of Representatives opened a formal impeachment inquiry into the president. David Fuentes explains why this occurred and what it means for the country moving forward. David?
Thanks, Graham. It's been a turbulent first term for the president. Calls for impeachment have followed Donald Trump since his inauguration for various reasons. For House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, alleged abuse of power by the president was the final straw.
I'm announcing the House of Representatives moving forward with an official impeachment inquiry.
On September 19th, the New York Times and the Washington Post reported that a whistleblower from within the Trump administration had filed a complaint against the president. A few days later, the Post reported that a troubling promise was made during a July 2019 phone call between President Trump and Ukraine's newly elected president, Volodymyr Zelensky. According to reports, President Trump agreed to disperse military funds to Ukraine, which had been previously withheld by Trump, but only if Zelensky agreed to pursue an investigation into former Vice President Joe Biden, a potential political opponent of Donald Trump in the 2020 presidential election. Just one day after Democrats opened their impeachment inquiry of the president, the White House released transcripts of the president's call with Zelensky. The transcripts accurately matched details depicted in the whistleblower's complaint, and Trump himself would later confirm that he did in fact ask Ukraine to pursue an investigation into the Bidens.
The president has admitted to asking the president of Ukraine to take actions which would benefit him politically. The actions of the Trump presidency revealed the dishonorable fact of the president's betrayal of his oath of office, betrayal of our national security, and betrayal of the integrity of our elections.
On Friday, House Democrats issued a subpoena to the White House, specifically calling for Mike Pence, the vice president, to turn over documents relating to Ukraine. Impeachment is a long, complex process, so this is a story that we will continue to cover at State of Events as it develops. But for now, it seems like Democrats have their sights set on impeaching the president of the United States. Graham?
In national news, United Auto Workers Union still remains on strike for a third straight week against General Motors as talks broke off over the weekend.
For more on Hong Kong protests and their effects in and around mainland China, here's Dylan Sutherland.
Thanks, Jennifer. Today marks the 121st consecutive day of mass protests in Hong Kong. While most of you have heard about this, there are some things you may not know about the events unfolding. And here's a rundown of what's happened so far.
While Hong Kong is part of China, it operates semi-independently with its own laws and government which allow civil liberties denied to citizens on the mainland, including free speech, unrestricted internet access, and the right to free assembly. A year after a murder case in February 2018, an extradition bill was proposed. Citizens of Hong Kong feared mainland China's government would use this bill to extradite political dissidents on bogus charges and began to peacefully protest. During the first mass protest on June 9th, police used pepper spray and tear gas on the crowd, many of whom were students or elderly citizens. Soon the movement expanded into a mass resistance by the population with 5 main demands. To withdraw the bill, for Chief Executive Carrie Lam to step down, an independent inquiry into rising police brutality, freedom for arrested protesters, and greater democratic freedoms. After months of refusing to yield to any demands, believing they could weather out the protests, Carrie Lam finally withdrew the extradition bill on September 4th. The protesters have been using ingenuitive tactics to counter police crackdowns, making them impossible to stop. First off, the movement has no central leader, making it hard for the police to target individuals as ringleaders and disrupt their unity. Instead, individuals plan their actions and spread information using encrypted messaging apps. This allows them to follow an adopted ideology taken from Bruce Lee to be like water. Water can flow or it can crash. Protesters have used other means to thwart police, such as carrying umbrellas to conceal their actions, constructing roadblocks, and using laser pointers to blind facial recognition devices. This week, Carrie Lam used an emergency power to ban all masks in public, which protesters have been wearing to conceal their identity. Also, for the first time since the movement began, a protester has been shot with a live round. On October 2nd, an officer was separated from the main force and was chased by protesters. Video shows the riot officer being tackled to the ground and hit with blunt objects before a second officer approaches with his revolver drawn despite carrying multiple non-lethal weapons. One protester can be seen swinging a metal rod at the officer's arm in an attempt to disarm him before being shot in the chest at point blank. When a second protester tries to approach and help the injured man, he is forced to the ground as multiple officers with guns drawn arrive. Seconds later, a Molotov cocktail is thrown at the officers, igniting the ground by their feet. The protester is alive, and if convicted, faces only 2 years for assaulting an officer, but 10 years for rioting. Tensions continue to rise after the shooting, and with China amassing troops and police at the border, things seem to be taking a turn for the worse.
Several Chinese businesses are not playing ball with the NBA's Houston Rockets. It follows the team's general manager tweeting his support for Hong Kong's pro-democracy protests. NBA Rockets GM Daryl Morey tweeted a photo that read, "Fight for freedom, stand with Hong Kong," referring to the months-long democracy protests underway in Hong Kong. Protests that have both embarrassed and angered China's government. Over the weekend, Morey's tweet unleashed a strong response in mainland China. Chinese Basketball Association severed ties with the Rockets and is canceling 2 G League preseason CCTV Chinese-run, state-run broadcasts and are no longer planning to air upcoming Rocket games. The Chinese tech giant Tencent suspended a deal to live stream Rockets games. The reaction led to an apology by Rockets GM Daryl Morey, tweeting in part, "I have always appreciated the significant support our Chinese fans have provided, and I would hope that those who are upset will know that offending or misunderstanding them was not my intention." The Houston Rockets played yesterday in a preseason game against the Toronto Raptors in Tokyo, Japan. State of Evnts' Jennifer Rios shares with us the exclusive on the climate change rally that was causing some attention among students here on campus. Jennifer?
Yeah, Graham, students here at San Francisco State gathered together in solidarity in their fight against climate change, sharing their stories and concerns on what is impacting us here in the Bay Area and around the world, and what we as students can do about it. In support of the Bay Area Climate Action Week, students here at SF State organized a climate justice rally here on campus. Organizations involving the College of Ethnic Studies tell us the impact of climate change and what we should know about it. Representative from the League of Filipino Students, Sharaquiza, shares her thoughts.
Now is the time to take action. Now is the time for us to fight against issues affecting our communities.
Some students, including Pacific Islander organizations, share with those in attendance just how much climate change is affecting their homelands. Student George Mooley shares his criticism on the federal government's role on this ongoing issue.
The White House administration needs to regulate and limit how the corporations operate because the climate change they created is threatening not only my nation, the Kingdom of Tonga, but also throughout Oceania as a whole.
With a huge crowd in support of Climate Action Week, students like Andrew Vyatt shared with State of Evnts the negative impacts of climate change affecting our environment and for some even in their own homes.
Like erosion, right? Waves crashing on the land, breaking pieces of the land off little by little. Acidity in the ocean temperature, you know what I'm saying? So coral reefs are being destroyed because of the change of the temperature of the water. And as we speak right now, in many islands in the Pacific, like waves are getting closer and closer to people's backyards, to people's front of their houses. It's a reality for folks in Oceania. And if you just Google and search those islands and climate change, you will see that this is a reality for them.
Grace Worley, president of the Pacific Islanders Club, tells us just how important our role is in this fight against climate change.
We are the generation that can lead in the desperate need for the change or face the consequences of Mother Nature.
Speakers from the rally, including Sharaquiza, hope that this momentum does not end here, but will encourage students to continue this movement going forward.
letting the students rise up about the climate issues that are happening all over the world. And so it's important to create a movement and to really spark political consciousness within the student to be conscious about what's happening around us and outside of the campus.
Even with the rally over, students say that this is a time to get educated on this issue and continue this battle against climate change. For more information on how you can continue this movement and more coverage on the rally, visit our website, stateofevents.net. Reporting live in studio, Jennifer Rios, State of Events. Next on State of Events, construction work on new student housing at SFSU continues. Find out whether the building is on schedule to open for 2020 and then...
For those of you waiting for downtown San Jose BART extension, you may have to wait longer than expected. Find out when, next, on State of Events.
When it's time to choose healthcare for your team, you want the best. When it's time for your team's questions to be answered, you want a professional you can trust. At Valencia Health Services, your time is well spent. We provide professional, quality healthcare. Valencia Health Services, dedicating quality time to professional healthcare because your team's health is our first priority. Valencia Health Services, quality time because we care.
There is no question that finding affordable housing and student housing in San Francisco, one of the world's hottest real estate markets, can be a real challenge. Natasha Cancino comes to us live from the campus of San Francisco State University at the Administrative Building, where just across the street, construction continues on new dorms slated to open for fall 2020. Natasha, it seems like affordable housing on campus is desperately needed at SFSU. What type of impact will the new building have?
Located on Holloway and Varela Avenues is the future residential building for SF State students. It will feature fully furnished apartment-style units with private and shared accommodations. Residents will have access to a modern amenity space, including social and recreational lounges and an academic success center. The first floor will contain multiple retail spaces. The new Liberal and Creative Arts building will be 4 stories high. It will house classrooms, a professional TV newsroom, the KSFS FM studio radio station, an audio recording studio, and much more. The CSU allocated $58 million towards this building, $81 million in total, with additional funding coming from SF State in combination with private donors. This will be home for state-of-the-art broadcast and electronic communication arts facilities. LCA Dean Andrew Harris says, the Liberal and Creative Arts building will place the Beckett Department at the heart of the campus. As for the student housing project, it was funded through a public-private partnership.
The celebration of the 50th anniversary of the College of Ethnic Studies started yesterday. Events kicked off at the Jack Adams Hall located inside Cesar Chavez Center, with informative panels including witnesses to the strike that happened here on campus that eventually led to our Ethnic Studies department. Events are set to continue going into Saturday. You can visit ethnicstudies.sfsu.edu for further information on these events.
For those of you waiting for the downtown San Jose BART extension, you may have to wait a decade longer than expected. BART to San Jose delayed. BART originally set out for a 2026 release date of the extension that would go through downtown San Jose, reach parts of Silicon Valley and out to Santa Clara, but now the expected date of completion for this project is 2030. But on the bright side, BART service to San Jose begins in November with the North San Jose's Berryessa station and the Milpitas station shuttling passengers by December.
Alexa Vega spoke with a health promotion and wellness expert at San Francisco State about how therapy dogs can help out students.
Man's best friend is also man's best stress reliever. At San Francisco State, therapy dogs create a sense of comfort for students.
Whenever I see students come to pet a therapy dog, they get so happy, their eyes light up.
Allison Cosman is a health promotion and wellness mentor at SF State. She is in charge of hosting therapy dogs on campus. The campus organization teams up with the San Francisco SPCA therapy dogs. About 150 to 200 students stop by to pet, cuddle, and hug the canine companions.
Everyone loves dogs, they're cute, and also they're very, very affectionate, which is something that people with mental states really need.
Societal expectations like school, work, paying rent, and having a social life are the main causes of stress among college students. Students are overwhelmed, especially mid-semester.
Classes are finally starting to pick up, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I can do all this.
Allison is an advocate for mental health and believes it is important to practice self-care.
Oftentimes it is very stigmatized and people are oftentimes afraid to talk about it, and we think that it's such a rare thing that it happens when really it isn't.
Therapy dogs are well-trained, calm, and soothing. The presence of therapy dogs on campus bring immediate happiness to students.
They build connections with these dogs because most of the time they're the same dogs who come every time. So they build connections with the dogs, they build connections with the owners, and it's just a part of their day that just makes it better, and it's just very, very touching.
The therapy dog event is on campus every first and third Tuesday of every month. In San Francisco, I'm Alondra Vega for State of Events.
Next week, tune in as I take a closer look at stress and anxiety among college students. Find out what we can do as students to reduce stress and the services that are offered to us here on campus.
Next on State of Events, a roundup on prestigious television Emmy Awards. Find out which SF State alumnus won at this year's Emmy Awards. And in the NFL, find out how both of the local teams fared in their home games, including one team who had a home game over 5,000 miles away.
There are many important days in your child's life. Their first birthday, their first big game, their first day of school. Choosing the right school for your child sets them on a path for success. Apply on time. It's for your family's future.
No matter how much you give, every cent donated can turn into something useful. Take part in building homes. Take part in building hope. Habitat for Humanity, Greater San Francisco. Building homes and hope in Marin, San Francisco, and the Peninsula.
Claudia is a pre-med student in search of a global health experience. She desires a program abroad that provides cultural immersion. Claudia wants a credible program that affirms her interest in the medical field. Most importantly, she seeks an international, community-based health program. Claudia finds herself with Child Family Health International. How will you distinguish yourself? Visit cfhi.org.
Welcome back to State of Events.
Alondra Vega has the latest in entertainment news. Take it away, Alondra.
For entertainment news, I'm Alondra Vega. Coming up, we'll have a roundup of Mac Miller's OD arrest. Tekashi 6ix9ine's upcoming trial, and news on people being able to stay at the Jersey Shore house. But first, the 71st Emmy Awards celebrated their best in primetime television for the past year. San Francisco State alumni Alex Borstein took the award for Outstanding Supporting Actress in the comedy for her work in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Billy Porter won his first Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama for his role. Another Emmy's first, Jarrell Jerome's win for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Limited Series or Movie for his role in When They See Us. The cast of Game of Thrones received a standing ovation when they appeared on stage after the show's send-off. Game of Thrones won Best Drama, and Peter Dinklage won Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama.
That's supposed to be camera.
Third person has been arrested in Mac Miller's death. Stephen Walter is suspected of selling the late rapper oxycodone pills laced with fentanyl 2 days before Miller's death. Police arrested Ryan Rivas earlier this week and is accused of delivering the pills to Miller. Documents show a text message exchange between Miller and another drug dealer who was arrested earlier this month. Miller, whose real name is Malcolm McCormick, died of a drug overdose last year at 26 years old. After 3 days in federal court, rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine confessed about all the inner workings of his gang, 9 Trey Bloods. The rapper, whose real name is Daniel Hernandez, confessed the gang's activities included shooting at people, robbing people, and drug trafficking. In February 2019, Hernandez pleaded guilty to racketeering, firearm offenses, narcotics, and other crimes. His current sentence is 47 years in prison. However, with the exchange of his recent testimony, Hernandez is looking for a more lenient sentence. Have you ever wanted to stay at the Jersey Shore house? Well, now you can, but it will cost you. The house, located in Seaside Heights, New Jersey, has just made its debut on rental websites. The nightly rate will cost you $3,000. You can now get the whole GTL experience, just like Mike, Vinny, and Pauly D. The rental includes all original memorabilia that is used during its time on the show, even down to the famous duck phone that everybody loved so much. The listing is available on booking.com. Maybe a cast member will pay you a visit, literally help you out with the bill for the night stay. As you can see, some liked it and others didn't. You'll just have to see it for yourself. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, so don't worry. I still have to see it for myself. Well, that's what I have all for today for this entertainment roundup. Back to you guys at the desk.
So, Graham, would you stay at the Jersey Shore house?
You know, I don't think I would, especially for $3,000 a night, but maybe. I mean, what's the benefit?
Well, you never know. There's always Groupon, and spring break's coming up. You never know.
Well, thanks, Jennifer, for letting me know more about the Jersey Shore house. David Fuentes in sports has some important news on San Francisco State sports and a recap of Sunday's NFL games, including both the Niners and Raiders games. Take it away, David.
Dropped their second match in a row on Saturday to Cal State East Bay. The team moves to 5-10 on the season and 3-3 in conference play. Their next match will be on the Niners won 31 and I don't think this is a VO. This isn't a VO. Yeah, it's the SF State Sports First. No, yeah, I checked it too. You didn't label it wrong. You labeled it right. Okay. The San Francisco State volleyball team dropped their second match in a row on the prompter just cut. on Saturday to Cal State East Bay. The team moves to 10-5 on the season and 3-3 in conference play. Their next match will be Thursday at against Sonoma State. Men's soccer lost their game on Sunday 2-1 against Chico State at home, which moves them to 5-2 on the season. The women's soccer team lost to Chico State Sunday 3-1. This drops them to 2-5-1 on the season. Both soccer teams play Friday at Cal. Yeah. The San Francisco State volleyball team dropped their second match in a row on Saturday to Cal State East Bay. The team moves to 10-5 on the season and 3-3 in conference play. Their next match will be Thursday against Sonoma State. Men's soccer lost their game on Sunday 2-1 against Chico State at home, which moves them to 5-2 on the season. The women's soccer team also lost to Chico State on Sunday 3-1. This moves the team to 2-5-1 on the season. Both soccer teams will play on Friday at Cal State San Marcos. The Niners played their first Monday night contest of the season last night. The 49ers jumped out to an impressive 21-3 lead at halftime due to overwhelming defense and impressive special teams play. Little changed in the second half as the Browns only gained 180 yards offensively throughout the entire game. Baker Mayfield struggled with one interception and a fumble. The Niners won 31-3 and remained the only undefeated team in the NFC West. The Raiders took on the Chicago Bears in their first London game of the season. The Raiders blew an early 17-0 lead, but managed to put the Bears away in the fourth. The Raiders were pinned deep late in the game, but converted on a fake punt and were aided by roughing the punter call. Rookie running back Josh Jacobs then leapt into the end zone for his second score of the game to secure the victory for the 3-2 Raiders. The Warriors played their first preseason game at Chase Center on Saturday night when they hosted the Los Angeles Lakers. Stephen Curry put up 18 points for the Dubs, but didn't get much help from the other starters, as the only other players in double figures were rookie Jordan Poole and Eric Paschall. Anthony Davis had scored 22 points and 10 rebounds for the Lakers, and LeBron James added 15 more. The Lakers won the contest 123-101. The Sharks faced off against the Anaheim Ducks on Saturday. Logan Couture was able to tie the game up in the second period, but the Ducks struck quickly back and added another goal in the second to take the game to its final score of 3-1, dropping the Sharks to 0-3 on the season. The Sharks play again tonight at 7 against the Boston Bruins. In playoff baseball, the Rays avoided a sweep and extended their series against the Astros after putting up 10 runs on Zach Greinke and the Stros. They play Game 4 tonight. In the National League Division Series, Yadier Molina hit a sacrifice fly for the Cardinals in the 10th inning to even up their series with the Braves at 2 apiece. Game 5 is set for Thursday. The Washington Nationals also held on for another game against the Dodgers, winning their game 6-1. The final of both of the National League Division Series will be tomorrow. In the ALCS, the Yankees are the first team to move on to the second round of the playoffs after sweeping the Twins last night. They go on to play the winner of the Astros and the Rays, which will take place tonight. While baseball may be over in the Bay Area, the big story here in sports is the retirement of legendary Giants manager Bruce Bochy. For our send-off, courtesy of Jordan Myers, here's Jordan.
Welcome to Oracle Park. The end of September marks not only the end of the 2019 Giants baseball season, but the end of Bruce Bochy's amazing career.
After 25 seasons as manager, the last 13 with the Giants, Bochy has decided to hang his cap and enjoy a much-deserved retirement.
I will be retiring after the season. In my mind, it's time. I've managed with my gut. Came up here in 2007. Oh my God. And so it's a gut feeling that it's time, and it's been an unbelievable ride. And there's so much, to be grateful for, with the players, the city, the fans. Oh, sure, I'll be fine. I mean, there's a lot of things that I look forward to doing. I'll stay in baseball and do something, but I just wanted to let you guys know.
He has left an unforgettable mark not only on San Francisco, but Major League Baseball as well. Bochy has managed over 3,800 games. That's 9th all-time in the history of the major leagues. He also has over 2,000 managerial wins, 11th all-time. More importantly, he brought a championship to San Francisco in 2010 for the first time in 56 years, only to encore 2 more times in 2012 and 2014. Bruce Bochy has earned the respect and love of San Franciscans for all his accomplishments and dedication to the city. His legacy will not soon be forgotten. This is Jordan Myers with State of Events.
That does it for the local sports wrap-up. The Raiders are headed into a bye week this weekend. The Niners are headed to LA to play the Rams on Sunday. So there's a whole lot to be excited about as a sports fan out here in the Bay Area. Back to you at the desk.
That's all we have for this edition of State of Events. To stay up to date with all the news around San Francisco State, follow us on all social media platforms.
And check out our website at State of Events at stateofevents.net.
For State of Events, I'm Jennifer Rios.
And I'm Graham Muckenfoos. Stay cool, San Francisco, and go Gators!